So we're gonna show you how to use regular expression with Java. So I create a class named regexdemo. Just try to show how to use regex. So I need public static void main string args. Just say system.out.print. And how do we use regex? So there's a method when you do like string. Like for example, I'm going to create a variable named string. Let's say message. Okay, equals to, maybe I just give a letter A for now. I want to see the patterns. So I'm looking at Java doc here, right? String regex matches. Okay, let's try that. Like, it's looking for dot. Now, what's dot? So we have a table that we can refer to, table of regex. So this is a table. Dot represent matches any char or the characters. So meaning that if I run this, it should return true because A is pretty much a characters, right? Because if it's not, then it should return false. True. So, and again, it's a any meaning. It's also try to define. When we say characters could be a number. Number still could be characters like number 1, right? Letter A, pretty much any characters, right? Now, if I said I'm looking for numbers, then numbers should be, if you keep reading this, right? This is matching symbols. Any digits, you do escape D, right? So now if I say I'm looking for the numbers, I don't want the characters, right? So, but in Java you have to do // right, in the code. Okay, so it should return false because it's not a number. See? Now, application of this could be when you validate the user input, you want to see just the number, or you want to see just the letters. Then you can say if, right, it doesn't match. You just want the user with the message, right? Invalid input. Makes sense? Like, for example, you guys been learning how to use scanner. Like, when you want to read, if you remember, when you want to read input from user, if I want to read an integers, how do you read an integers? Keyboard, right? Dot next int, right? Now, what happens if I enter something that is not an integer? Like you may want to prompt the user to enter a number, right? And if the user not enter a number, what happened? That means you didn't validate the input, right? You didn't validate the user input, and most of the time errors create from user validation input isn't. This is okay too. Okay. Now, if I enter a letter, you get an input mismatch exception, and the program just not working. It's freeze or whatever because the user not seeing this message. And the user said the program not working. Most of the errors create from user input. So that's why input validation is important. So that's why we said we want to validate input first. by using enter a number. What happens if user not enter a number? How you apply this? We already know we can use the regex to help. The scanner is the issue because next int always gonna read an integer. You probably cannot do much at that point. So that's why we want to maybe use the option pane or input like message as string and then just write it from there, right? With a regex pattern, right? So if I change this to use j option pane dot show input dialog, enter a number. Now we have the message, so we can start to check, right, if the message that we in is it a number or not, right? So we can say if message dot matches and then number, right? This is the regex for number, right? If it's number, then we don't have to do anything. But if it's not number, this is input validation, right? Then we pretty much just going to say something like notify back to the user, show message dialog. The input must be a number. Or you can do like alert, warning, error, message dialog icon. Now just make it simple, just do alert. Alright, so I enter the letter. So we validate the input now. Now that's a simple one. Now for you may need to look at, okay, when you sign up, we require, okay, email has to have the at, right? As symbol, how do you do that, right? So first you just need to understand the basic. Must match at the beginning of the line. Must match at the end of the line. So those are the symbols. This is can match any letters between A, B, or C. Right? Any 3 letters. Or you can do a range like that. So the character appear as the first character inside square brackets. It negates the pattern. This pattern match any character except A, B, or C. Do you understand? We don't have to show, right? Like, if user happen to put A, then it's going to return false, right? Because that's mean negate. And this can be the A, B, C as the first one, and followed by B and C as the second. Because it's required to match that, right? So, meaning, like you can do plus for like any number of characters. These are the quantifiers. Like plus mean at least 1 must occur. Asterisk mean at least 0. I mean, doesn't mean it can be nothing or more, right? Question mark means occur no or 1 time. Like for example, if I want to do the Let's say I said your user has to enter with at or annotation. So enter an email, right? So what should your regex look like? It say must have this, right? And we want to say any number. Pretty much, if you say email could be anything, but at least once. You cannot leave it blank. And after that, it must match. Like, we'll add any characters again, right? And after that has to match what? Period, right? So what is a symbol for period then? Because when I do dot, it's gonna be any characters, right? Could be that. Okay. 2 backslashes and dot. Right. It could be or but I want only. I don't think they have more than 3 characters, right? Like it's always. Can we do dot? Maybe. There is. Oh yeah. So then we just do that for any number. Must be an email. Something like that, right? Now, you may, if you don't understand regex, you will be confusing what's that. But now, according to this table, then you pretty much understand when you read it, how to use it. Make sense? So, let's try this. See? Now it's trying to validate an email, right? So, mail. Good. That's pretty much how you use regex. Now you have to think about if it's password, the size has to be at least what 8, including one number. Now you have to think about how you're going to construct your regex for that, right? I think that's pretty much the shortened version of how to use regex. And I think if you have any questions, so we good?
Start chapter 21. Chapter 21.